Who said you could use my cup?
Dave and I fight over this cup.
We don't fight over it. You just take it all the time.
And you make a fight out of it.
I'm not making a fight.
The gang's back. Hi.
Oh! Whoa! That was right at Daddy's head. Here you go, Barney.
Catch it.
Catch it. 1, 2, 3, catch. Oh. Nice.
Okay. Oh gosh, this is so heavy. We need to update you on Chip's food situation. He's doing half dry now and half homemade, which is nice because it gives us a break from making the the homemade. Barney, you ready? Hold it very carefully. Chip's breakfast. Oh, oh dear. Yeah. Oh, good job. Oh, nearly. Put the rest in. Good job. Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna pull this up.
I don't think that looks like the best idea.
It's not very safe. Barney.
Hi. What would you like? A banana? A banana? Go on then, you get what you'd like. Mummy's cup of tea. Oh, I know it's hot. Bread? You really want a piece of bread?
I think he wants to give it to me.
Do you think? He does look, he's already had a bite out of that piece. The joys of having a toddler. Are you happy now? Good morning. Welcome back to Sophie and Dave.
Good morning.
We are back from Disneyland Paris. We've been back for a couple of weeks. The last few weeks have been a little bit crazy. Firstly, we broke the camera. So, wonderful. Oh my god. What's it doing?
It's also been super hot, so we have been surviving, but also going swimming and taking walks. The boys have had so much fun, like swimming in the lake and stuff.
And you might have noticed Barney's had a haircut.
Yeah.
I took him on like the hottest day, and I almost like said to the lady, like, just shave it off, because he was so sweaty and like sun cream all in it. It had got really long on his face. Thankfully, she didn't shave it off. She's just cut it really short, but he looks about 4 now. I
know, it is wild, but it really suits him. And that's kind of it. That's the catch up. But we just wanted to say, just such a huge thank you for all the love and support on the videos, for watching the videos. It really felt absolutely incredible to be back in a Disney park and filming, and it really felt, yeah, like I think I said it in the videos, but we felt the most ourselves that we felt in just such the longest time.
Every time we like got the camera out of the bag to film, we both just kept saying, can you believe we're filming a Disney vlog?
I know.
Can you believe we're filming this? Because it's been like 3 years since we filmed one, and we just love it. I think when I edited them, I definitely was like, oh god, we didn't explain anything, and it was tougher having a toddler.
Yeah. And
we'll definitely like talk about that. We're gonna do like a bit of a Q&A later on, so we'll definitely like hit all your questions that you've asked us, and that was very common of like, what's it like taking a toddler? And it was a lot harder.
It was different as well. Yeah, it was just like
there was just like peaks and troughs throughout the day, where some moments are like, I can't imagine this being any better, like it's just a dream come true, and the next minute you're like, oh my god, go to sleep.
What have we done?
we need like just a little break. But I think that's just life, having a 2-year-old anyway.
A child, yeah.
Yeah, it's an emotional roller coaster, especially when it's hot and you're in a like a theme park.
And everything is hyper stimulating as well.
Yeah, but in terms of the vlogs, I do want to apologise, because I do feel like there were moments where I wish we had have like explained what we were doing,
Yeah.
or maybe our reactions to things a bit more. And I think for the Disney World Florida vlogs, I'm definitely going to try and keep that in mind a bit more, of just trying to like explain things. But honestly, my brain was a little bit like, where's Barney? What's Barney doing?
Do you know what? Lessons were learned. We're happy about it.
Thank you for the love on the vlogs, but we learnt a lot.
Yeah, and also I'm determined we're going to get to everyone's comments, because there's been loads. It's been a bit overwhelming, but in such a good way. But if we haven't replied to your comments, we are still on it, I promise. So thank you very much.
And if you can hear that noise in the background, it's this. Hi, Chippy.
I didn't get to go, guys.
But Chips had his 5th birthday.
Woohoo! You're an old man.
You're 5.
What's that, dog? You're 35.
You're older than me. Hi guys, it's me, Chip.
Hi.
I missed you. He's so handsome.
He is.
You're such a beautiful boy. Oh my god. And vicious.
He's not vicious. So, the first question is from Victoria. And she says, what was it like flying with Barney? I'm trying to plan a trip for for next year with what will be a 1-year-old.
Oh, I actually think a 1-year-old might be easier. I think Barney was a lot easier at 1 than he is at 2. The main issue with Barney is that he just wants to run. Like, that's his favourite thing. If he had his way, he would have been out of his seat and running up and down the aisle.
And climb as well.
And climb. Thankfully, the people in front of us were a row of quite young girls, maybe like early 20s, and I did just quickly say, I'm so sorry if he's kicking your seat, please let me know, because he was, I mean, a little bit up and down on his chair once we were, like the seatbelt signs were off.
Yeah.
So I did pack like some little cars, I picked up a sticker book and some crayons and like a Toy Story colouring thing, and I passed him the crayons and he just chucked them.
He wasn't
like
for having
3 rows in front. It was
at
such
all.
a good throw. Thankfully they were like really light crayons. Our problem was our flight was at about 2:30, and we'd been at the airport since about 10 o'clock that morning, so we hadn't had his nap. He wasn't going to sleep at the airport. It was just like far too exciting.
Yeah.
I would say until you get on the plane, let them run as much as possible if your 1-year-old is walking, because that really did help. I think we just let him run as much as we possibly could.
And certainly on the way back we did that a lot as well, and it did help. And it was an evening flight, so.
But like on the plane, he was just exhausted. He fell asleep the minute that we landed.
Yeah.
So we just got snacks and the iPad out, and he was happy.
Yeah.
So, and he liked to stand on the floor kind of with the iPad on the seat and just kind of watching it like that, and he was happy. So I think you've just got to do what you've got to do.
Yeah, go with it.
Okay, this is a big question. Lizzie asked, and quite a few other people, is Disneyland Paris as good as Disney World?
It's different.
It's not as good. I think that's fair to say.
I think it's hard when you have so much emotional investment in a certain place. Like, I am so emotionally invested in Walt Disney World because that's what made me fall in love with all the parks.
But the reason I say this is because I've had this conversation with other people, and I know I've not really been to Disneyland Paris in a long time, but some people say, well, I've been to Disneyland Paris, do I even need to go to Disney World?
Oh.
And I always say, if you can afford it and if you want to go, yes, because it's just completely different. Like, it's such an immersive, amazing, normally like a 2-week experience if you go from over here. That it is just a completely different holiday. And I think that a lot of people said this to me, is that you have to see Disneyland Paris as like something completely different and not to compare them. And I think because I went with that mindset, I loved it so much and we had the best time. But I would never say that it was enough to replace Disney World. Like, it never would be. But I think because I went with quite low expectations, and it was our first trip like anywhere since our honeymoon in 2019, we just had the best time. And I think because we weren't comparing it, we had such an amazing time.
We weren't trying to make it anything that it wasn't. And
there were like really key moments, like when we were outside of like Big Thunder Mountain, and you're like, I'm in Disney. Like, it really, like, you can hear the noise of the train, and or like when you walk down Main Street and you got that smell, and all like Main Street looks very, very similar.
And like the town square as you walk in, just like before Main Street.
Yeah.
So a few people have also asked about how I got on, basically how I fit on the rides in Paris, and because obviously America's quite accommodating, would Paris be the same? I obviously didn't go on everything, but the things that I went on, I had absolutely no issues, which is obviously lovely. The bigger, like, thrill-seekery rides like Indiana Jones and Flight Force both had the sort of overhead lap bars that come down and sort of like crank into place. And the other ones were kind of like family rides, so it was like one lap bar across.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything was absolutely fine. I don't think there was anything really that I was uncomfortable on.
Yeah. Which
was really nice. So yeah, obviously if we go back and I have any more updates to tell you on that, because we go on different things, then I'll be sure to do that. But yeah, basically,
you were all good?
I was all good.
So the next question was asked a lot as well, and it was, this one is from Mrs. Meeks, and she says, did we purchase fast passes? Which the answer is yes. We used what's called Premier Access, and we just paid per ride that we wanted to jump the queue on. So Disneyland Paris no longer has any fast passes that are free. They have what's called the Premier Access feature. There is one that you can get all like the big rides as part of, but obviously we weren't really going on those. We wanted to kind of just pick and choose the rides that we wanted to go on, and it wasn't crazy busy when we were there. Like, it didn't feel unbearable, but the queue times were at least maybe like 40 minutes to an hour for most things that we wanted to go on with Barney. And obviously the more children you have, the more expensive it's going to be, because you pay per person. Because Barney is under 3, we were only paying for the 2 of us, which did massively help. And we just decided to spend the money that we had basically for spends on things like merch and whatnot. We budgeted about €100 for spends other than food, and we've just calculated how much we spent on Premier Access, and it's pretty much bang on €100. Oh, Barney's here. So the rides that we paid for were Peter Pan. That was about 13 each.
Yeah.
Ratatouille was also about the same. I think they were the most expensive ones. And then some of the cheaper ones were Indiana Jones. That was about 9. Hyperspace Mountain for Mummy. That was about 9.
Buzz Lightyear's space.
About 10 each, I think Buzz was. That was like kind of middle ground.
So this is a juicy one. But Ellie asks, is there anything that was harder in real life than it looked on the vlog?
All of it.
I would say there's one definite standout for me.
What would you say?
The fireworks.
Yeah, oh gosh. That was a little bit chaotic. So it didn't feel like in Florida, where you've got I think they're called the PAC cast members, that their job is to kind of keep the traffic moving around like parades and firework time. So in Florida, once you kind of get up Main Street around like that hub area for Castle, there's areas that you can stand, but there's very clear areas where until those lights go down for the fireworks, the traffic has to keep moving, which allows like walkways to still be usable.
Well, it just looks like an open road almost. I mean, there's people on it obviously, but like you can see the ground.
Yeah, and I remember working at Disney World, and there were people that had to go from attractions when we were like overstaffed and have to go and do like pack, and they hated it, I think, because maybe they just didn't have the experience of doing it, but you had to really like be quite forceful and keep people moving.
I can imagine it's a pretty thankless job.
Yeah, and people obviously want to get a spot for the fireworks. They don't realise maybe that those aren't like designated areas. But in Paris, it felt like the minute you got to the end of Main Street, it just was like a wall of people. And we weren't vlogging because obviously we had Barney and we had the pram, and it was a bit stressful. And I think at one point, I think it was on the way in, we ended up taking Barney out of the pram. I had him on my hip. Dave folded the pram and just carried it through the crowd because we couldn't stay where we were. We were just getting like pushed from behind, but there was nowhere to go in front. So you were basically kind of almost not being crushed, but that's kind of how it felt.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to get out of there. So we kind of veered right and ended up at the Plaza Gardens, and there was a fountain there,
and thankfully we found a space, and then there was people sitting on the fountain that left. I think maybe someone in their party like wasn't feeling well, because they were sitting there to see the fireworks, and they just kind of tapped, I think they tapped me on the shoulder and they just said, do you want these seats? And we were like, yeah, of course. We sat down, and then I think we started filming at that point, but it was so hectic. And it was late, like the fireworks starts at 11, so all this is happening at like 10 o'clock. Barney was an absolute trooper. We'd already kind of given him his bath, put his PJs on, he was tired, and he stayed out of the pram, didn't he, for probably half the fireworks, and then we put him back in, and then I think pretty much by the end of them he was asleep.
Yeah.
Chip doesn't look too impressed with breakfast, but we've made these pancake kebabs with Nutella, so it's just Nutella, blueberries, strawberries, banana and little pancakes, and they're these summer mini pancakes from Waitrose. They're about £2.50 for a whole pack, and you just pop them in the microwave.
To dip it?
Dip, dip, dip.
Wow.
What do you think? Nice.
Really nice.
Oh, good job.
He's discovered a love for Nutella.
Is it good? Mmm. Yummy.
Yoink.
Looks good, guys.
Do you want a Nutella strawberry? I'll give it to you, son.